Which teams have the most pressure going into the 25-26 season? What teams need to make the conference finals? What teams need to just make the playoffs? Let's talk about it in this video. What's up, everybody? It's Darnell with the I Got Next podcast, back with another off-season video to get us through the rest of the summer. If this is your first time finding us, we do all basketball content, so make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. So how this is going to work, I'm going to scale all these teams that I listed that have the most pressure going into next season, and we're going to rate their pressure level from a scale of 1 to 10. First team with the most amount of pressure this season is the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, I know what you're thinking. It's the champs. They really shouldn't feel that much pressure. They just came off of a title. But there hasn't been a repeat champion in the NBA since 2018 with the Golden State Warriors, and this team would love to be the first to break that streak. However, the other streak that they're trying to avoid is no team since 2019 who came off a championship has made it back to the conference finals the following year. And while I don't think that's going to be the fate of this team, that is a lot of pressure to come back from winning a title and at least get back to the conference final in a Western Conference that is completely loaded. So with that, the Thunder to me are at a 3 on the pressure scale. Next up, the Los Angeles Clippers. The Clippers reloaded this team, getting rid of Norm Powell, bringing in guys like Brook Lopez, Bradley Beal, Chris Paul, John Collins, trying to beef up the depth of this team in case something happens with Kawhi Leonard. This team was great last year, and with a reloaded roster, they have a good shot at making it to the conference finals for the first time in a few years for them. However, if they don't, that could be the end of Ty Lue. That could be the end of James Harden in Los Angeles. That could be possibly the end of Kawhi Leonard. That this is another good team that's been put in front of you, and you cannot stay healthy enough to get them to the conference finals and maybe win a championship. So for that, the Clippers got a 5 on the pressure scale. Next up, the Atlanta Hawks. Now, I've raved on other social media platforms about how good I think the Hawks did in the offseason. Picking up Kristaps Porzingis. Jalen Johnson's coming back. You got Nickeil Alexander-Walker. You got Luke Kennard. You got a lot of guys on this team who can help get you back into the playoff picture. But where the pressure is for the Hawks is that they've been in the play-in for years on end. They are a perennial play-in team for years. And Trae Young, as of this moment of shooting this video, has still not gotten an extension. So the thought has to be, if Trae Young, with probably the most talent he's had around him since that conference finals run back in 2021, if Trae Young is unable to carry this team and help this team get to a conference finals, hell, just make the playoffs. That's the goal for this team. Just make the playoffs, the regular playoffs, not through the play-in, be one of the top 6, maybe win a round, maybe put up a good fight, and let's see where we go from there. I think if Trae Young is unable to get this team to do that, this could be the end of the Trae Young era in Atlanta. The Eastern Conference is completely wide open. They had one of the better off seasons of the Eastern Conference, so they need to make the playoffs. If something happens, obviously if Kristaps Porzingis gets hurt, which is a strong possibility that that could happen, if something goes wrong for this team, I would say that they're going to start trading off pieces much earlier than the trade deadline. So with that, the Hawks are at a 6 on the pressure scale. Next up, the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, of course, the Bucks had to make this list, right? Giannis has been flirting with leaving the Milwaukee Bucks since the end of the season, and they really still haven't gotten a concrete answer from him if he's willing to stay. And again, as of this moment, Giannis has not requested a trade, has not been in inklings about any trades. So we're going to operate as Milwaukee is going to have Giannis for the rest of the season. Like, they brought in as many guys as they possibly could to field a decent team around Giannis to entice him to stay. Now, is the pressure going to be super high for them to win a championship? No, because they're not. Even in a weak Eastern Conference, it's not happening. But if the Bucks get off to a bad start or just make it into the playoffs or have to go through the play-in, Giannis is most likely going to get out of there. And that's the pressure from them. Just make the playoffs. Just look competent. Look competitive. Because losing your biggest superstar that you've had since Kareem is going to hurt your franchise for years on end. And while the Eastern Conference is weak, and it's very possible that this Bucks team can still make it into the top 6, top 5 of the Eastern Conference, if they're not ready to go from the tip of the season, this thing is getting ready to implode. So with that, the Bucks are at a 7 on the pressure scale. Next up, the Minnesota Timberwolves. Very, very simple with the Wolves. You've made back-to-back conference finals without making the actual NBA finals. The pressure now lands into their laps. Even in a tougher Western Conference, they still have to make it back to the conference finals, if not the NBA finals. It is time for them to take the next step. There's going to be pressure on Anthony Edwards. Can you continue to elevate your game and your team around you to get them over the hump and get them to the finals? And if not, while I don't think they're going to be wholesale changes with this team, they do just have a new ownership group, so who knows what they're thinking if something like that were to happen. or if they get into the playoffs and get bounced out in the first round. And in that scenario, I could see Chris Finch getting fired immediately, shopping around guys like Dante DiVincenzo, Julius Randle, maybe even Rudy Gobert. And maybe from that point on, the Wolves just go right back down into the play-in picture. So with that, the Wolves are at an 8 on the pressure scale. They have to make it to the NBA Finals or at least get back to the conference finals again. Now, these last two teams, honestly, you could go 1A, 1B with the pressure, but let's start with the next one. It's going to be the Cleveland Cavaliers. Biggest question mark coming into the season when it comes to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Can you beat the fraudulent allegations? Last season, you had the best record in the Eastern Conference, battling with the Thunder, battling with the Celtics, and then you get beat by the Indiana Pacers as a 4 seed. Now, I understand the injuries are the injuries, and that's totally understandable. However, this team has come up short in the last 3 or so years and have been getting embarrassed by most of the top teams in the Eastern Conference. A couple years ago, it was the Knicks who went into their house and took their soul. 2 years ago against the Celtics, they were a battered group and got beat up by the champs. And then, of course, last season, still some injuries, but you had the best record in the NBA, and you lose to Tyrese Halliburton and the Pacers. One of the most constant things that the Cavs have had to deal with is being a little bit soft. Jared Allen has already expressed that before when losing to the Knicks. This team has never come up big in big moments. Can they get past that? Now in the Eastern Conference, again, you're going to hear that a lot in a lot of videos across social media. Now in the Eastern Conference, with the most wide open window you could possibly have, probably a better window than you had than when you had LeBron. You now have to really only deal with 1 to 2 teams in the Eastern Conference for sure who are legit. There is no more excuses. You have to get, conference finals would be great, but you almost have to get to the NBA Finals too. Because if you don't, and I totally understand they may not fire Kenny Atkinson after 1 season or 2 seasons, and he's getting this team to one of the best records in the East. I get why they wouldn't, but there's a chance that they could. But for sure what they would do, if this team falls short in the first round, the second round, conference finals, if they fall short again, this core of this team is going to be broken up. That's going to be Jared Allen's going to be gone. Darius Garland's going to be gone. The question then has to start being asked, is Donovan Mitchell worthy of being a number 1 guy on a playoff team or a championship team? They made one move in Lonzo Ball, and they're still under the second apron, so they don't have a whole lot of flexibility going forward. So this is the team that you have, and if you can't make it in a down Eastern Conference, this team may need to change altogether. So for that, the Cavaliers are at a 9.5 on the pressure scale. And last but not least, the team with the most pressure going into the 25-26 season is the New York Knicks. The Knicks fired Tibbs after he takes this team to the conference finals for the first time since 2000. They lose in a tough 6-game series. In game 1, as a Knicks fan, game 1 will still forever haunt me. They miss an opportunity after they knocked off the champs, missed opportunity to get to the finals. And honestly, making the finals this season is the only justifiable reason why you fired Tibbs. The Knicks beefed up their bench with Jordan Clarkson, Yabusele, you extended Mikal Bridges, and you have a healthy Mitchell Robinson going into next season. If you can keep this together, this team should make the Eastern Conference Finals. For sure, has a chance to make to the NBA Finals. But if you don't, the pressure, the weight of that decision to fire Tibbs, to extend Mikal, to trade for Mikal in the first place, to trade for Karl Anthony Towns, every single move will be broken down, stripped down to try to figure out what happened to this team. Jalen Brunson and the Knicks have shown over the last couple of years that they handle pressure very well, but this is a different level of pressure and a different level of expectation that this team has never seen before. So with that, the Knicks are at a top level 10 for pressure in the NBA next season. But y'all let me know in the comments, do these teams make sense as having the most pressure going into next season? Is there a team that I missed? Let me know in the comments below. Again, if you like this video, I appreciate it. You staying this long, please make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel. We shoot daily podcasts once the season starts. We have some more summer videos coming to you, so make sure you check those out. I appreciate it, and I'm out.